Now we are moving to our next speaker, and it will be Diana Aldea from Romania. She is PPC Team Leader at Creatopy, and with over 6 years of experience in the field and lots of conducted experiments behind. Diana will share with us the role of the advertiser in 2023. Diana, hi, how are you?
Hi, hello, Anton. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm fine and ready to present you my presentation.
We're really happy to have you with us today. You can share the presentation and start.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, great. We can start.
Okay. So, as I said, it's a pleasure for me to be here with you and to share some key insights regarding how I see the role of the advertiser in 2023, what will change, and what these changes imply, because I strongly believe there will be some changes in the way we do PPC this year. Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself and my experience. I currently work as a PPC team leader at Creatopy. Creatopy is a creative automation platform that enables brands and agencies alike to build, optimize, and personalize creatives at scale for various markets, channels, and digital platforms. I've been working here for the past 2 years, but I've been part of the PPC world since 2016. And I must say, I love everything about it, the good and also the bad. I admit I'm a PPC geek at heart. PPC is in my mind and soul before and after working hours, and I'm sure that the same is true for the listeners today. But enough about me. Let's dive into the topic. What trends do I see happening in 2023? And what role does the advertiser play when it comes to adopting these trends? First of all, one big topic that was popular last year as well is the one about ad creative and the increasing importance of it. In 2023, we can definitely say that the creative part will be more important than ever. With the upcoming cookie apocalypse, the targeting capabilities became less and less powerful. We all know it and feel it. We all see this in our accounts. And something must take over this power. It cannot only vanish into thin air. And in my opinion, what will take over this power is the creative part. We all know the evolution of the media. Some of you may have also witnessed it. There was the newspaper, then the telephone, the radio, the TV, and so on, until we reach at this point of advertising online using different channels and platforms. Cookie apocalypse is coming, and it may force us to take a step back and turn to the broadness of TV or radio advertising, even on social media. You know that on TV, for example, the creative is the focus of the advertisement. You can reach almost anyone with a TV commercial, be it the father, the mother, the children, or even the grandparents who are in that household. A lot of different demographics for just one commercial, right? It may seem terrifying for someone used to advertising only on social media. Let's take the example of a TV commercial that advertises a face cream for women. To promote this product on social media, you would normally target just women in a specific age group with specific interests. However, on TV, you will reach both children and men with that ad. But if the ad is sketchy enough, they won't switch programs, even if they are not in the target audience. If it is memorable enough, not only will they watch it, but they will be more likely to tell other people living in the same household about it. And the mother or the grandmother who didn't see the commercial will find out about the cream from a person who wasn't necessarily in the target audience, but who is living in the same household. To conclude this example, I want to remember you that anyone can spread the word about the commercial they've seen. In other words, you pay once and they talk forever, which is quite fascinating. Now, I'm sure that this happened to you at least once. You saw an ad on TV, you enjoyed it, and told others about it, because I surely did. And the reason why I decided to share it with other people was the creativity in it. Also, I love good humor in an ad, and I will watch it even if it's advertising something I don't need to buy right away, or even if it's not targeting me directly but other demographics. The creative and only the creative is the one that wins hearts. And people want to watch the ad until the end and don't switch programs during commercials. It's a win for everyone. People are entertained and brand is on top of mind. Now I see the same happening for social media. My opinion is that in 2023, we may be in the position to say goodbye to narrow targeting, to say goodbye to spending hours on refining our targeting audience and trying to bring it to perfection, and say instead hello to broader targeting. I think this is the future, and I think it will start in 2023. What shouldn't scare us away from broad targeting is that there are a lot of people who are not directly in our target audience, but they play influencer roles. They can influence the purchase decision. As stated in the example I talked about earlier, with the face cream, they may even buy the product as a gift for someone who is part of the target audience. With narrow targeting, we miss on these opportunities. Also, if the creative is the new targeting and we have an outstanding ad, people who won't find it appealing at all won't click on it, and thus they won't consume our budget. Somehow we can say that this is still narrow targeting, but not in the sense that was used before. We are narrowing down our target audience, but through the creative part of the ad. Again, as I said, we are slowly but surely losing the targeting capabilities that we relied so heavily on in the past, which could make or break the success of a campaign. And yes, there was a time when we could win with a boring ad. Maybe we advertised for a product only a specific group of people would need. Even if the ad wasn't so intriguing, we reached the exact audience that needed that product. And they overlooked the other aspects of the ad. They didn't care about the creative element so much. It was important to some extent, but even if the ad wasn't the best, the people who were targeted knew they were in need of something like this and brought the product anyway. In 2023, the role of the advertiser will change in the way it is not enough to rely on the things we relied on in the past and still achieve success. Success is now harder to attain, but it is not impossible. And here is a funny example. Since the iOS 14.5 update, I have seen lots of advertisers saying that Facebook is dead. And I'm sure that you also heard them or saw them on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or on other social platforms. And yes, Facebook was the most impacted by the cookie apocalypse. And yes, everyone saw a drop in conversions at that moment. Some saw a bigger drop and some saw a smaller drop. But what is certain is that everyone was affected one way or another. Us at Creatopy included. This is a fact. But in my opinion, Facebook is not dead. Facebook ads still work for us. For some specific campaigns, Facebook performs even better than other advertising platforms. It brings better results at better costs, and we aren't considering giving up on these platforms, not in the near future. The idea is that the role of the advertiser is more complex now. He may have to push a little more buttons, do a little bit of extra work, so the things that worked in the past still work now. People who say Facebook is dead are the people who didn't go the extra mile and simply let it die. If it was dead, it would have been the same for every advertiser out there. How it is possible that that platform still brings results for some advertiser? It's not like Facebook likes some of us more and rewards us with great results. So to draw a parallel with TV advertising, you must up-level your advertising game. Even if you decide to go broad or not, what is sure is that the creative part of the ad must be improved in 2023. You must test different hooks, different creatives, and do it more often than before. If in the past we could run the same ad for 6 months or even a year, let's say, and still see good results, today it's no longer the case. In 2023, we must win hearts with our ad. Make people talk about it because word of mouth is very powerful. Consumers may not need our product now. They may not convert off the bat. But when they will need a product or a service similar to ours, a memorable ad has the power to influence the purchasing decision. We must be sure that we are on top of their minds any day at any hour. Also, I have some personal examples from our campaigns. We typically run webinars related to advertising that are meant to help advertisers out there sharpen their knowledge. For the promotion of the first webinars, we used creative similar to this here on the slide, on the right part of the slide. So you can see a basic visual for the promotion of a webinar. Basic in the means that it tells the name of the speaker and also shows them in the center of the image. Words like free webinar are also mentioned. At the same time, we made sure the same thing is found on the landing page from a visual perspective. So the landing page is on the left part of the slide. These creatives were bringing us results, so we had no issues with the effectiveness of these campaigns. In this example, the first image, the one with the black background, managed to bring us 71.8% of the registrations to the webinar. But taking into account the new trends that are waving at us, we decided to test more creatives for our latest webinar. We used 7 different ad creatives, the ones you can see here, all using the same descriptions and the same CTA button. The only variable here was the creative. The description was, find out in our webinar how to optimize your ad for the 99% of people who are not clicking on your ad. And the CTA was learn more. So this is the first webinar where we tested ads that don't necessarily look like ads that are more native. We wanted to arise interest through the creative, to see the impact the creative has over the results, if any. And the results were interesting to say the least. The data presented here is for the first 3 weeks of running the webinar from December 14, 2022 until January 4 this year. So the previous type of ad that brought us results wasn't the winner now. It still has a strong performance, occupying the second place in terms of people it brought to the webinar. So 21.4% of people that sign up to the webinar came through the first ad here on the slide. But the ad that brought the most users to the webinar in a large percentage of 42.9, double compared to the first creative, is this one, the fifth image. Perhaps it wouldn't be your first choice to test when it comes to the promotion of a webinar. It doesn't say anything about the speaker, or it doesn't say anything about the day or hour of the webinar, which are key details to mention, you would think. And this is just an example on the importance of the creative and the importance of A/B testing. When we make an ad, there may be times when we love our ad, but maybe our audience doesn't. So this is another good reason to test more variables and see which are the ones our audience loves, which is way more important. And oftentimes we will learn that what we love is not what the audience loves. That's why we should be flexible in our testing and not fixate over something that only appeals to us, especially now when the creative can make or break a campaign. Moving forward from the importance of the creative, the second trend I want to talk about is automation. I know that automation has been a trend for the last few years in the advertising industry, but I still see it being an important trend for 2023 as well. It may already sound like a cliche. That's why I didn't want to start my presentation with it and keep it for later. Yes, in the past years, the automation of things slowly took over. Automation was a trend for the last few years. But in 2023, it will be at its highest peak. We can see more and more things being automated in our campaigns. More and more control is being taken away from the advertisers. The disappearance of expanded text ads, introduction of dynamically created ads through the content from the landing page, the rise of performance max, the push towards broad match, and so on and so forth. If we were to compare a day in our work life from 5 years ago with a day in our work life today, we can see that a lot of things have changed, and our role as advertisers has evolved along with these changes. Just think for a moment. What were you doing 5 years ago at work? A lot of manual tasks. I know that because I was doing the same. We didn't even realize we were doing so many manual tasks. That was our daily job. We didn't know any other way back then. One example I can give is increasing and decreasing bids daily, and some of us on tons of accounts, not only on one account. So just imagine the amount of repetitive tasks. And this is just one example. There were a lot of manual tasks we were doing that thankfully are automated today. And I say thankfully because even if automation isn't seen as an angel by many, I prefer to see its positive part in our lives. Due to automation, we now have more time for strategic thinking, and that's one main change in the role of the advertiser in 2023. Strategic thinking will help advertisers succeed versus doing everyday mundane, repetitive tasks. Yes, those mundane, repetitive tasks were enough in the past. Increasing a bit today could bring a lead tomorrow. Fascinating. But that is a matter of the past. Now the machine takes care of that more efficiently. I say we should trust the machine for these tasks and give us more time for thinking strategically. How can I improve the ROI? How can I achieve that result faster? And so on. The focus of the advertiser will now be more than ever on the how part of the things, which is the strategy, rather than on the what, which is the executional part. And don't get me wrong, the executional part is also very important. It is one of the parts I most love doing as an advertiser, and I will always love it. A good advertiser has both sides activated. But if not so long ago the executional part was enough, now the strategic thinking comes into play as well, and it does with a major force. We have to be extremely good at both. In the past, we could win by simply being stellar performers. Strategic thinking was there, but it was secondary. Now the roles have switched places, and the strategic thinking gains more and more traction. We still have to be good at execution, but the majority of our energy must be directed to the strategy, to the whys and hows. The machine will free lots of time to give us this needed energy for the how, which is the strategy. The machine will be focused on the executional part, of course, guided by us, while we will have the strategy in our hands. We should trust it and don't be afraid, because the machine can only help us. And I'm very confident that machines won't take our job, not anytime soon. There's no machine that is capable of strategic thinking. Even if we reach that point sometime in the future, there will always be a human mind needed to guide the machine, to correct possible errors, to extract only the best from it. So, and let's take the example of OpenAI, which has been the hot topic for the last few weeks. I won't dive too much into it, as I don't want to make you think, oh, ChatGPT again, oh, thank you. What I want to quickly mention is that even though you require the tool to write, for example, a copy that fits in a specific number of characters, many times it failed to do so. Also, the content generated, even if it was good, it wasn't the best, it wasn't the most original. You would need to change something here and there. As you can see, our guidance is still important, and it will be many years from now on. I'm optimistic. We should accept the automation in our lives, we should adapt and see how we can succeed together. If we try to do everything on our own, being nostalgic about the past, we won't reach too far. Not today, not in 2023. The third and the last trend I want to to talk about is related to the economic situation we are in. Some say a recession will come, some are more optimistic about the near future. What is sure is that costs are higher than ever. Inflation is not a possibility, it's a fact. We all feel it in our everyday lives, no matter the country we are living in. So, this is the reality. In this economic context, we cannot expect our clients to spend the same amount of money as in 2022 and bring the same results. Just think about it. We as humans cannot live the same way with the same amount of money as we did in 2022. Our audience is formed by other people, people like us with needs and wants. Why would we think that their buying habits didn't change as well? That the economic situation we are living in is not influencing their purchasing habits as well? Be it a recession or not, my opinion is that in 2023 it will be harder to achieve the same results for the same spend compared to 2022. Of course, there are some verticals that thrive in poor economic times. There will always be some exceptions to the rule. Also, no matter the vertical you are part of, the economic situation may force your competition to cut budgets, which leaves you with less competition and thus with more chances to thrive. You wouldn't want to scale back as your competition does. To win, you must be able to scale up. So, as you'd guess, the advertiser has a role to play in this trend as well. Remember when I said earlier that 2023 is the year of more strategic thinking? A good advertiser is the one who will spend their days thinking how they can strive, how they can succeed, how they can make more money for their client. Without the strategic thinking, the performing part is not strong enough. Just blindly executing won't bring you the results you need. Only by luck, a lot of luck. The level where your product is the only one in the niche and the clients need it desperately to survive. Then, yes, just blindly executing without a clear goal in mind will help you succeed tons. Maybe. But again, I like to see the good part of this. Our role becomes more and more complex with automation rising and with the current economic situation. But let's see the benefits of it. If the PPC job was something foreign 10 or even 20 years ago, and there were only a few agencies in the world doing this, nowadays new PPC agencies and freelancers are entering the scene every day. But even if there are many people doing it, this doesn't mean everyone is doing it perfectly or not even decently. Recently, I saw a lot of great advertisers being uncomfortable with the fact that there are clients that come to them and are dissatisfied with the job the previous agency did. In some cases, maybe that is just a rant. But after auditing the account, they found some things that shouldn't be there, actions that should not have been made. And maybe from your experience, this happened to you as well, to take over some accounts and you to have to repair them. The point is that there are these so-called advertisers that spoil the market for the rest of us. For us who are striving on a daily basis and trying to over-deliver. They make us look bad in front of potential customers who see PPC as ineffective. So we must change their perception. It's very hard to gain a possible client, but we have now to regain a trust we didn't even lose. And the good thing is that this big shift from only executing to also thinking strategically will help keep on the market just the best advertisers, the true advertisers at heart. The ones really working hard to achieve things, the ones that are great at both what and how, or at least the ones who are trying to perfect their way of doing things. In my opinion, in 2023, we'll win the advertiser that knows some tactics from 5 years ago may be outdated. Advertisers that think more out of the box. Advertisers that are here to do just that, to advertise, to adapt, to fail, and learn at a fast pace, which is very important, succeed, and then repeat. Also, the ad creative will play a major role in the success of a campaign. We must take this into account when creating new campaigns in 2023. Then automation will accelerate. And we mustn't fall behind. We must accelerate our ways of doing things as well. The economic situation we are in may put us in the position to tackle different tactics, do it faster, and learn at a higher pace. On top of all these trends, the advertiser plays an important role. His role becomes more and more complex. This is the year when only the best advertiser will survive and thrive. In 2023, what I encourage you to do is to do your own testing. There's nothing more reliable than having your own results and experimenting on your own terms to see what best works for you and your accounts. Experimentation is vital for our accounts and for our success despite the year we are living in. Trends may come and go, but the capacity to make great experiments and to have great learnings from them must always be there with us as our most dearest and most reliable friend. And I want to end my presentation in a very empowering and positive note. I want to encourage you to show 2023 that we are all prepared to royally win. Let's show 2023 that the advertising game is the game we best play and that we are ready to show our tricks. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
Diana, thank you for such great speech. I want to ask, how do you use all these features in Creatopy? What new features and new options we can wait from Creatopy in this year?
Yes, there will be some new features in our tool that will help advertisers create better creatives. As I said, creative will have an important focus in 2023, and thankfully we have the right features and in our tool to help them create these beautiful ads that will help them convert.
I want to say thank you for such great speech, for answering our questions. I will be happy to see you on our next conference. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you so much. Have a great day as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.